Hi everyone, and welcome back as I continue my review of The Prisoner in the order I'm watching them. So let's crack straight on, shall we? Hammer into Anvil. Number 2 is interrogating a woman in the hospital who tried to attempt suicide. This interrogation goes badly wrong. She screams. Number 6 hears this from outside. He rushes into the hospital. Just at the point, the woman throws herself out the window. And number 2 turns around to number 6 and says, "You're going to pay for this, number 6. To which number 6 says, "No, you are." So, yes, it's going to be a showdown between number 6 and number 2. A bit later on, number 2 rings number 6. Number 6 just says, "We've got nothing to talk about." Puts the phone down on him. He goes out for a walk. He's then picked up by number 2's village goon squad, you could say, and brought to the dome, where number 2 basically says, "I'm not like all the other number 2s. I'm going to crack you, number 6. And he comes out with this motto. He sees himself as the hammer and number 6 the anvil, and he's going to hammer him. And he gets a call on the big red phone, number 2, and the question to him is everything running smoothly? To which he says yes, which gets number 6's eyebrow raised. And so at this point, number 6 sets about to bring down number 2. Now, after his departure, number 2 issues the order, total surveillance on number 6. Report everything. Number 6 goes into the village store. He picks up a record and the copies of that record. He starts listening to them, timing it all in his watch. And he's bought the tally-ho as well. And he's ringed off the word security in it and put a question mark above it. And he's doing all this routine. And, the shopkeeper is obviously keeping an eye on him. And when he departs, the shopkeeper immediately sees number 2, takes the newspaper with him. And number 2 is already starting to be suspicious of number 6, you could say. And that suspicion starts to grow as he observes number 6 writing a note out. And then number 2 dispatches his henchman, number 14, to number 6's place to retrieve the sheet underneath the top sheet that obviously number 6 wrote the note on. And he does exactly that. He retrieves it, brings it back, and it is analysed by number 2. And number 2 is being sort of secretive, you could say, at this stage. He basically says, "Thank you very much, number 40. Now, away you go while I take a look at this note." And what it is, it's the start of number 6 carefully sending number 2 over the edge. And it looks like some sort of report being made on number 2 by a D6. Who's D6? And immediately number 2 says, "Number 6, a plant?" And so his suspicions are sowed, and from here he just goes downhill. Later in that evening, number 6 puts some blank pieces of paper into the stone boat. He's been observed, obviously, by number 2. So number 2 and number 14 followed him down to the stone boat. Number 6 has walked away after leaving the blank sheets behind. They're picked up by number 2. He looks at them, nothing on them, so he rings the laboratory. They pick up the sheets, analyse these sheets. There's a message on there, and the laboratory just turns around and says, "We've analysed them, and there's nothing on them." blank sheets of paper. That's all they are, just blank sheets of paper. And from there, number 6 does other things. One of them, like he calls the hospital, the head of psychiatrics, asking him about their report on number 2. Yes, so number 2 gets hold of the head of psychiatrics, goes out his way to prove to him it was number 6 who called him, and he wants to know, what is this report on number 2? Himself, that is. What is this? And of course the head of psychiatrics just basically turns around and says, what report? I have no idea what you are talking about. And so the seeds are definitely sown. So number 6 carries on with his plan. He starts putting messages in the tally-ho that picked up by number 2. Because number 6 had been wandering through the village graveyard, picked out a number on the gravestone, and that's where the message comes from. And that, of course, alerts number 2 what is going on. And he bursts into the security dome, or centre, whatever it's called, and he harangues the supervisor, the main supervisor, number 28, to such an extent, he sacks him. And he screams out, I will break this conspiracy. Well, of course, everybody around him doesn't know what's going on, apart from number 2, number 14, and number 6. Everyone else has got a clue. Anyway, number 14 has a conversation with number 2, says, let me loose on him. I'll deal with him. He's undermining your authority. Number 2 says, no, you can't. He's too important. And so this carries on. And it starts escalating as number 6 now buys a cuckoo clock with a box. Now the box he's going to use to trap a pigeon in. Now while that is being baited, waiting for the pigeon to go into the box, number 6 gingerly and carefully takes the cuckoo clock up to number 2's residence. In such a way, he looks very suspicious. And obviously, number 2, observing this, thinks, good grief, it's a bomb. And the bomb squad is immediately called out to deal with it. While they're dealing with it by examining the cuckoo clock, number 6 has got himself a pigeon. It's wandered into the box. So he's taken a stroll up to the mangrove with the box, with the pigeon inside, with the aim to attach a message onto the pigeon and release it. While he's off on his walk, being observed by the new supervisor, number 2 walks in to the bomb squad, and the bomb squad just basically give him a funny look as to like, well, where's the bomb? And they do it in such a way it annoys number 2. Anyway, number 2 now gets a call from the new supervisor. Number 6 is acting suspiciously with this box. And what happens is he's observed writing a message and then attaching it to the pigeon, releasing the pigeon. The new supervisor activates the beam. Number 2's now in the dome with the new supervisor, and they bring down the pigeon to get the message off the pigeon, and everything's just escalating. It's absolutely escalating, and number 2 is going completely paranoid. And it reaches the point where now number 6 approaches number 14, has a silly conversation with him, knowing full well what's going to happen. And yes, number 14 is brought into number 2's office, and he's sacked. He's got rid of him. And not only has he got rid of number 14, he sacked the butler. He actually sacked the butler. Incredible. So, a furious number 14 bursts into number 6's residence. They have a punch-up. It ends in number 6 hurling him out the window, and then finally number 6 confronts a broken number 2. And number 2 tries to get the upper hand with him. He says, I know who you are. You're D6. You're a plant. You're here to spy on me. and so on. And eventually number 6, in a very carefully constructed conversation, basically says, authority here has broken down, and it is you that's broken down, because everything I basically did was just to get at you, and you fell for it, basically, in not so many words. And because you've broken down, you have got to report yourself. I like that. I really like that touch. So this broken number 2 now has to pick up the big red phone and report a breakdown. And that breakdown is himself. He has to be replaced. And it's quite an incredible scene that, he's so calm about it at first. And then as number 6 is sort of departing, it's like he becomes embarrassed. And he hides in his chair. His strange looking chair. It's when he buries himself in it. Yeah. So this showdown ended with a success for number 6. And on that note, let's move straight on to my final thoughts on this one. Right, so here we go, my final thoughts on Hammer into Anvil. This is quite a different episode, this one, because number 6 is going out of his way to bring down number 2, because he has witnessed this woman commit suicide in the hospital. He is absolutely disgusted by number 2, and he will use all his knowledge and resources to whatever's available to him in the village to bring this number 2 down, which he regards as a weak link. And that's exactly what happens. As the episode goes along, everything starts to escalate. It all feeds into number 2's paranoia, and he just goes overboard. He does, number 2. He really does. He gets to the point he trusts no one. Absolutely no one but himself. Even sacking the butler. Well, the butler had nothing to do with it at all. Nothing. Yeah, so it's quite incredible how his paranoia gets the better of him. And of course, number 6 is feeding into that paranoia in what he is getting up to. And this number 2 just slowly but surely breaks down. And that's exactly what happens. He's so paranoid that he cannot see what number 6 is doing to him. Because some of the things that number 6 gets up to are just basically harmless, you could say. But to him, it means something else. So yeah, this number 2 is definitely, without doubt, a very weak link. He has stepped over the bounds, and number 6 is going to bring him down. And that's exactly what happens by the end. Yes, Hammer into Anvil is a good episode. It shows number 6 using all his skills and what's available to him to bring down this number 2. It's just such a good episode. It really is. It's refreshing in some ways that you're getting something a little bit different here. It's not about breaking number 6. This is about breaking number 2, because he's the weak link. He's dangerous. He's out of control. He's got to be brought down, and slowly but surely, that's exactly what number 6 does. He brings down this number 2, and he gets the number 2 to get onto that big red phone and report a problem. That problem is himself, and he needs to be replaced. That's a real nice touch. That really is. That truly is a great touch. So, on that note, yeah, Hammer into Anvil, good one. And as usual, you can guess what the next episode I'll be reviewing. Yeah, it's all great stuff. I'm thoroughly enjoying The Prisoner. And on that note, have a great day, everyone. See you in due course. And as usual, be seeing you.